production of the Mississippi State University Extension Service.
Today on Farm Week, a Mississippi farm leader loses his life in a farm accident.
If the shell is
we'll have highlights from the Mid-South Forestry Equipment Show at Starkville.
In southern gardening, Gary has a late season bloomer that offers stunning color in the fall.
In the food factor, onions, Natasha says this superfood is worth its tears.
In the market, some traders think soybeans may close below $9 by year's end, while feeder cattle prices forge a new high this week.
In the feature segment, Mississippi Honey, you'll meet two families who perform the hard work of making it.
Bees has been with us since the beginning of time, and they're going to continue to be with us. It's just there's bumps in the road and going to continue to be bumps in the road, but there's going to be people that can handle it and take care of them, and they're going to make it.
Good day, everyone. I'm Leighton Spann.
And I'm Artis Ford. Welcome to Farm Week. Today we have an unfortunate reminder of how dangerous farming is. An active leader in the Mississippi peanut industry died last week in a farm accident in northeast Mississippi.
Artist Don Self of Hamilton died while helping haul peanuts for another farmer. Self was caught between a truck and a trailer he was helping to hook up. He was 55 years old. His death creates a leadership void on the local, state, and national levels. Self was one of the first in the Hamilton, Mississippi area to grow peanuts. The crop proved to be a perfect fit for Self's operation. He became an active supporter of peanut production. Self served on the board of directors for the Mississippi Peanut Growers Association and the National Peanut Board. On the national board, he served nationwide as the chairman of the Domestic Promotions Committee. He also served on the Monroe County School Board and as a deacon with the New Prospect Baptist Church. Self appeared several times on Farm Week, the last time in November of last year. He told Farm Week then peanuts had saved his family's farm. A strong family man, it wasn't surprising his grandchildren were there the day of Farm Week's visit.
That would be my goal, you know, that they would come up and take an interest in agriculture and, you know, feed the world like we do. If you have a child or a young person that has an interest in agriculture, I would ask that you steer them towards that. You make them stewards of our land. Get them off the video games and let them know that this is where stuff comes from. If they want to go out and dig in the dirt, encourage them to dig in the dirt. I want them to know that bacon comes from a pig. I want them to know that peanuts grow underground. Somebody's got to feed this country. And if we don't teach them how to do it, who does?
Farm Week extends its condolences to the Self family.
The Mid-South Forestry Equipment Show is the longest running event of its kind. While oriented toward professional logging, it showcases all things forestry, including art. Farm Week's Amy Taylor reports from the Mississippi State University Forest south of Starkville.
Folks at the Mid-South Forestry Equipment Show got an up-close look at the industry. Mississippi State University Extension Service Professional Logging Manager Program Coordinator John Owl says working with equipment is the centerpiece of the biennial event.
It's a way for the equipment operators to demonstrate their equipment. Live action means they're actually out in the woods cutting trees down so people can see how the equipment works. All of this equipment is for sale. We have a children's area. We have two contests, a loader competition, which is run by one of the equipment dealers this year. And then we have a skidder competition. The logger who can get on there and be the fastest and the most accurate with the loader is going to win, and the skidder operator who's the fastest and the most accurate with the skidder is going to win.
Additionally, MSU Extension Research Professor Dr. Randy Russo spoke to visitors about genetic improvement of pine trees.
What they need to understand is how that genetic value actually calculates into financial returns. So what we're looking at is providing that information, looking at the financial returns from revenue that is gotten from the higher genetic value material, whether it be mass controlled pollinated seedlings, or we're looking at clonal pine, which we call varietal pine. Now we have to look at, okay, we've got trees that actually exhibit straighter form, faster growth rates, higher disease resistance, and much higher saw timber and log type of value.
At the event, chainsaw wood carvings were on site, as well as the newly added antique chainsaw demonstration. From Starkville, Mississippi, I'm Amy Taylor reporting.
The ancient Egyptians honor this vegetable in spite of the fact it can make you cry. In this week's episode of The Food Factor, Natasha Haynes of the Mississippi State University Extension Service says onions are a superfood. She also gives us some tips to avoid tearing up when we cut them.
The onions, they get me every time. Although onions are easy to work with, many people avoid them because of the strong aroma of cut onions. Here are some tips to make cooking with onions simple and tear-free. A cold onion will not make you tear up as much as an onion at room temperature. So chill the onion for 30 minutes before slicing. To reduce tears when slicing onions, cut off the tops. Peel off the outer layers and leave the end root intact. The root end has the largest concentration of sulfuric compounds, which makes your eyes watery. Always saute onions on low or medium heat for best flavor. High heat makes onions bitter. For milder tasting onions, soak the slices in milk or pour boiling water over them. Let them stand for 30 minutes, then refresh them in an ice water bath. Get rid of the smell of onions from your hands or cooking equipment by rubbing them with lemon juice. Use salt on pots or pans made of aluminum, cast iron, or carbon steel. Onions can be preserved by freezing and can be used later in a wide variety of ways during the winter months. It's time to make healthy food a factor in your life.
Sometimes durable late-season color is hard to find in the landscape. In this week's Southern Gardening segment, Extension horticulturist Dr. Gary Bachman will give us a shrub that gives stunning color in the late summer and early fall.
Several years ago, we briefly showed a plant that was new to many gardeners. After growing this plant, I'm convinced that golden Thryallis is a must-have plant for our Mississippi landscapes. Golden Thryallis is a fantastic fall-flowering shrub that is known botanically as Galphimia glauca. Flowering starts beginning in July, with the plants in full flower from August 1st until early winter. The flower clusters are a very bright yellow that simply can't be missed. Adding to the color are the red stamens and pistil. The flower petal bases are also tinged with red. The flower clusters produced are up to 6 inches long, and the leaves are a bit oblong in shape and about 1 to 2 inches in length. The branches are initially a rusty brown, which complements the color of the flowers. In our Mississippi landscapes, golden Thryallis will grow into a rounded shrub 3 to 4 foot tall and 2 foot wide. Golden Thryallis is very pruning tolerant, and since the flowers develop on new growth, pruning will not have a huge impact if the plants become untidy. Golden Thryallis is deciduous in the winter and will die back to the ground around 25 degrees. It is surprisingly cold hardy. These plants survived 15 degrees this past winter. In North Mississippi, treat the same as you would a butterfly bush. Prune the plant to the ground after the first frost and mulch heavily for winter protection. Always plant golden Thryallis in the full sun for the best flowering performance and overall structure and appearance. I'm horticulturist Gary Bachman for Southern Gardening.
Layton golden Thryallis is a great choice for low water use gardens because it tolerates dry spells quite well. In our feature segment today, Mississippi honey. It's hard work, and you'll meet two families who have chosen to do it. Time now for the markets with Leighton, and you say there's some price action in the beef sector today?
That's right, Ernest. DTN analysts are even saying the bullish momentum of this week is expected to continue. Other stories making the headlines this week in the markets: better exports provide support to the wheat market. Large supplies hinder soybean prices as U.S. catfish prices remain up from 1 year ago. The wheat market has rallied since the start of October. The Financial Times Online reports that prices are up almost 7%. Bloomberg analysts think the support is due to concerns that adverse weather may hurt wheat crops in South America and Australia. As we record this segment, though, wheat futures are lower after a relatively weak showing in the latest export sales report. Large supplies continue to prevent much in the way of any gains for the soybean market. Arkansas Farm Bureau analysts are even saying soybeans remain likely to close below $9 before the end of the year. Trader John Roach seems to agree a trend lower may be in the works.
The market has slid down with all the negative news, and even the bigger yield estimates that we saw this week, they really didn't have much of an impact on the price. So the market's adjusted to these big crops, and now we're just waiting to see, okay, how does this harvest process go? And as we go through the harvest period, we think that the users will step up and clean up all of the available supplies. I think the market's really trying to find the bottom, and whether we've found the bottom now or we've got to muddy around here for a while longer and find the bottom a little bit later, we'll see.
The cotton market, meanwhile, got a little help from this week's stronger stock market activity. However, on Thursday morning, futures fell to sharp losses after the USDA reported lower than expected U.S. cotton export sales. Analyst Elaine Cubb still thinks China's recent import announcement at the end of last month was the first of several bearish indicators for cotton.
They limited their import quota. You know, they have a policy of really trying to direct what their own growers, their own ag producers grow, and they want them to be growing corn, they want them to be growing cotton, so they will do whatever is friendly to keep American cotton or just, any sort of exported cotton out of their market. And the harvest is doing well, the condition ratings are holding stable, so there's not really a very much bullish you can say about cotton. The dollar keeps going up, softs get hit very hard when that happens. I don't necessarily think that the lows are in on cotton yet.
Our trivia quiz pertains to some wildlife this week. Here's the question: what is the name for a group of possums? Which of these four choices do you think is the answer? A, pack, B, litter, C, a passel, and D, bevy. I'll tell you at the end of the markets.
We're going to pause for a short break on Farm Week. Coming up, we'll look at the calendar and the rest of the markets. Leighton Sprand reports feeder cattle futures have hit new highs. In the feature segment today, Mississippi honey. See why two state families love to produce this natural food.
Hey, do you see something cool? Sure. Coming home.
Well, before we get back to the markets, let's look at the Farm Week calendar. The Fall Beef Cattle and Forage Field Day at Prairie is set for Saturday, October 25th. The location is the Prairie Research Unit of the Mississippi Agricultural and Forestry Experiment Station. It's located west of Aberdeen on Highway 382. Hours are 9 a.m. to noon. Please call ahead to reserve your free lunch. Native grasses, implant studies, mineral supplements are just a few of the items on the agenda. How to age cattle using their teeth will be demonstrated. Whether you're an experienced beekeeper or you're just getting started, the Mississippi Beekeepers Association will hold its annual convention Friday and Saturday, October 31st and November 1st. It will take place at the Neshoba Coliseum on Highway 15 North at Philadelphia. An online registration form is available. The price is $25 for early registration, at the door $35. Handling diseases and many other topics are on the agenda. Go to our Farm Week website at farmweek.msucares.com for information on these and other events. Now check out this week's Farm Week Snapshot.
We turn to livestock now in the markets. As we record on Thursday, John Harrington of DTN was forecasting a sharply higher open for the cattle complex. Trader Ted Seifried says support is coming from recovery in the wholesale trade, but he warns it's always good to remember risk management, even in the good times.
So you have to be looking at the idea of protecting your downside now at this point also. Embrace the bullishness, embrace the bullish looking chart, but also kind of keep an eye on your risk management as well, because this is something that, you know, we could see a significant pullback here at some point.
Aquaculture is the focus of our market interview. Extension ag economist John Michael Riley joined me on Thursday to discuss recent developments in the catfish market. John Michael, how are pond bank catfish prices running right now?
Well, they've steadied off from the wild times of the past couple of years. Of course, wild is a little bit relative compared to other commodities. Obviously, not nearly as or less volatile than other commodities. But we did see a rapid growth in prices in 2011, and then seemed to come crashing down in 12. And in 13 and 14, they really steadied off. In fact, for the past number of months, we've been averaging about $1.20 at the processor level, which is really what the growers do get. So right there in that above $1, which is really good for producers of the catfish.
Are the processors able to sell the fish at these prices? Is that improved? How has that changed in recent months?
Well, I think that's the news going forward is demand, because we have seen the hemorrhaging has seemed to subside with our growers cutting back in terms of overall production. We still saw an 8% reduction in inventory levels as of January 1 of fish being sold, or inventories at the processor level. So really, I think the story moving forward is demand. We've seen the economy improve over in 2014, and projections that will continue. So anytime you see robustness in the economy, that definitely helps consumers' pocketbooks, and obviously that helps with catfish demand.
And compared to past times, processors, I believe, are running maybe fewer shifts, fewer hours right now as far as the
right. As a result of the lower inventories, lower volume of fish coming out of the ponds, then yes, we have seen some reductions in schedules.
All right. Of course, we've seen a lot of change in the grain prices and soybeans. Is that having any impact, since obviously those are ingredients in catfish feed?
Well, obviously we're down from 2012. That was the high water mark for feed prices, but largely we're tracking fairly close to 2013. We did see a reduction in feed prices, 28 and 32% feed prices during the middle of the summer, but those have popped back up a little bit, largely due to the fact that you're talking about a processed product. So soybeans prices are down, but you're still having to process that product, and you are adding a little bit of value to it, and those processors are wanting to get a little piece of the pie there. So they're running roughly equal to 2013.
Before our feature story, let's check the trivia answer for this week. The correct choice is C. When you've got more than 1 or 2 possums, you've got a passel.
In the feature segment today, honey. It's one of the most natural foods you can eat. Broke Tea Honey of Philadelphia and Prairie Blossom Bee Farm of Mayhew are 2 of the small apiaries in Mississippi. By remaining updated on the latest information in beekeeping practices, these 2 operations are trying to maximize their business efficiency. Farmweek's Amy Taylor first brought us this story last fall.
As consumers learn more about the positive effects of natural food products and shopping locally, 2 Mississippi businesses are striving to enhance the quality of their honey products. Owners and operators of Broke Tea Honey in Philadelphia, along with Prairie Blossom Bee Farm, located in Mayhew, say the knowledge they gain from Mississippi State University Extension Service helps their businesses thrive. MSU Extension apiculturist Dr. Jeff Harris explains the services offered.
So we do a little bit of everything: workshops, presentations to beekeeping groups, a lot of training. We also are making literature that will be distributed for beekeepers, so on how to handle some of the new problems like the varroa mite and the small hive beetle. We're working on that now. So we do written literature and education, we do on-hands education and workshops, and then I do one-on-one with beekeepers a lot.
Additionally, Dr. Harris says research is being conducted to develop pest-resistant bees that can stand up to the varroa mite. Johnny Thompson runs Broke Tea Honey with his parents, Kenneth and Joan, in Philadelphia, where they sell natural honey and queen bees for breeding. It's difficult to briefly explain the process of beekeeping. But Thompson gives a quick summary of how a hive operates.
There's 3 types of bees in every hive. You've got the workers are all females. The queen is female, but the queen is the only one that's able to lay eggs. So she lays all the eggs, does all the reproduction for the hive. The males are the drones, and they're there just to mate with any queen.
In order to grow the queen, Thompson says the fertilized cell of the bee is placed in what's called a nuke.
When we put a queen cell in that nuke, she hatches, emerges the next day, and stays in that nuke 3 weeks. She will go out and mate, can't come back, start laying, and 3 weeks later we will go in and take that queen out of that nuke, mark her, cage her, sell her, and then the next day put a queen cell back in and start that cycle over again.
Thompson says because broke tea honeybees are not exposed to any chemically treated plants, the honey is as natural as it gets. Mark Lewis, who owns and operates Prairie Blossom Bee Farm with his wife Carrie, says watching bees cure the honey is fascinating and explains the harvesting process.
They cure it to a 17% moisture, and when they get the moisture correct, they put a wax cap on it. And once they've capped an entire frame and then they've capped an entire box, I take that whole box with me to the house to be harvested, and you can cut the caps off with a knife, or you can scrape them off with a what they call a decapping tool. And once you take them off, you put them in like a centrifuge that spins it around. You orient them to the sides, and the centrifugal force spins the honey out. The honey flows to the bottom of the tank. You run it through a filter, and you're done.
Lewis says local honey makes a great gift, and local soap products are also produced at Prairie Blossom Bee Farm. Kenneth Thompson with Broke Tea says one of the unique aspects of selling honey is the fact that no 2 jars of honey are exactly the same shade of color.
Well, it depends on what the bees are collecting. Different flowers give off different shades of nectar. So that nectar, then when it turns into honey, when it's dried down to the honey, it's all different colors.
Thompson says Broke Tea sells a spring, summer, and fall honey. Additionally, Joan Thompson says there are health benefits involved in eating pure honey.
Well, one of the benefits is it's one of your best antibiotics. I've had people come that said they had gone to doctors for years for their sinus and allergies, and since they've been eating the honey, they haven't been to the doctor in 2 years. And each year we do what we call Ag in the Classroom, which we do in the north, central, and southern parts of the state in June. We go in, we teach the teachers so they can teach the children where their food comes from.
Thompson says honey is also a healthy and natural sugar substitute for cooking. In addition to selling honey, she also started making lip balm from leftover beeswax. When asked about his views on the fear of bee populations dying out, Kenneth Thompson says he isn't worried.
Bees has been with us since the beginning of time, and they're going to continue to be with us. It's just there's bumps in the road, and going to continue to be bumps in the road, but there's going to be people that can handle it and take care of them, and they're going to make it.
As demand increases for natural, locally produced food sources, Broke Tea Honey, Prairie Blossom Bee Farm, and Mississippi State University Extension Service say they look forward to being part of a movement that helps generate a healthy population for our bees. I'm Amy Taylor reporting.
And you can watch this feature story on Prairie Blossom Bee Farm and Broke Tea Honey again on our Farm Week website, Facebook page, or YouTube. We'll have their contact information as well on our webpage, farmweek.msucares.com. Now, if you're interested in beekeeping, the Mississippi Beekeepers Association will hold its annual meeting Friday and Saturday, October 31st and November 1st. It will be held at the Neshoba County Coliseum on Highway 15 North at Philadelphia. Now, if you can find out more information and register at the association's website, and we'll have that on our Farm Week website as well. The Thompsons, who you saw in Amy's story, are coordinating this year's meeting. And Layton, the Lewises of Prairie Blossom Bee Farm in Mayhew are getting ready for the holidays. They're already taking orders for corporate and individual gift giving. The Thompsons are expanding their operation. They bought some new extraction equipment. And you can also get their honey now in the Whole Foods store in Jackson. So good to know that things are looking up there. Well, we are at the end of Farm Week for this week. On our next show, we'll have highlights of Bug Fest. That was held recently at the Mississippi State University Crosby Arboretum at Picayune. The two-day event strives to introduce young people and their parents to the wonders of the insect kingdom. In the feature segment next week, the Mississippi Gourd Festival.
It's held annually in September. You can buy decorated gourds or take classes to learn how to make your own. There are even gourd banjos.
In the food factor, coffee drinks, they can be calorie rich, but there are ways to enjoy them without guilt.
In Southern Gardening, Gary Bachman gives us some background on gnomes.
For the rest of the Farm Week crew, I'm Artis Ford.
And I'm Layton Spann. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.